Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today let's go over a premium hard question in the database section that I just solved on my own. So I'm really happy that I was able to come up with my own solution to this question without any assistance or help and do it relatively quickly. And I wasn't really expecting to solve this one on my own, but I did. And again, it kind of surprised me, but yep, again, just really happy that I was able to come up with my own solution to this question without any assistance. So let me show you how I did it. This one's called 2474 Customers with Strictly Increasing Purchases. So you want to write a solution to report the IDs of the customer. So the customer ID is going to be the only column in the result where the total purchases are strictly increasing year over year. So just by reading this, let's get the customer ID first. So for IO, it enumerates orders customer ID, D of O. So what do we want? Well, we want to make sure the years. So if you look at the example here, 2019 has, for customer 1, has 2 records. So 2300. So basically what we're looking at is this and this. The combination of the customer ID and just the year, not the month, and the day of the order date. So let's call this now, and we just want to make this example. So now would be orders order date of I. This is a date time of integer value, so we want to turn this into a string, and then we want to get up to 4 because this is always a year, right? So we just want that, and we're going to say O of now. What are we going to append? We're actually going to turn this, what I did was I turned this into integer, and we're going to add the price because this is all we care about, right? The combination of this. I don't know if it's called a foreign key or a primary key in SQL. I think that's what it's called, but either way, the concept, I hope that makes sense. So it's orders price of I. And now if we print our dictionary, we basically segregated it by customer ID and the year. So that makes it easy because what we can do is basically fill this in. So what we care about is the year and the total price, right? So we're looking at the year. Okay, did 2019 to 2020, was that an increase? If it was not at any point, then we don't include the customer ID, right? So now what we want to do is go ahead and create another dictionary to get that information, right? So default dict of type list, and let's loop through the dictionary we just made, and let's get this and this. This is going to be the key of the dictionary still because we care about the customer ID. We want to find out whether the customer ID is valid or not, right? So DD, well, so let's call this the year and the price. So year P is equal to D of, well, is K of 1. So the key's first index, and then D of K is an integer. So DD of K dot append. So we want to sort by the year, right? Because the year is what's going to, we want to see from 2018 to 19 to 20. So the year has to increase, right? Year and price. And then we want to sort this. So let's print our new dictionary, and this just cleans things up a little bit. Okay, so I made a mistake here, K of 0, because we only want the customer ID now, right? So cool. Now this is exactly what we want, and it's sorted in order. So this makes it very easy to work with because what we want to do now, which is the last step, is for 2. For example, 2016 needs to be included because if you see the example here, 2016 is 0. So we need to go ahead and fill that in. So let's loop through our dictionary again, and let's call this low, and high is going to be DD of K of 0 of 0, and then DD of K of -1 of 0. Okay, so we want to basically generate this range. So now is list range low to high plus 1. Let's print now. Okay, so we want to make this an integer now, so we can actually do this range thing. So let's do this. And what we're going to do is, cool. So now we have all our ranges. We're going to go through each range And then we're going to go through, we're going to set a flag. That's what I did. So flag is false. And we're going to go through dd of k. We're going to say is any one of these equal to 2016 inside of 2? If it's not, then by the end, once we loop through all the lists inside of this dictionary value, then we can say if flag is still false, then we want to insert one of these, 2016, and the value is 0, right? Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. If a of 0, if integer of a of 0 is equal to n, then flag is true. We can just break it right away. Otherwise it stays, because if it appears, then we're good, right? That's the only point of that. So if not flag, so flag remains as false, then we want to insert or append the actual n itself, right? And then 0, okay? And then we want to also sort that because n is an integer and we want to make this. So let's go ahead and print dd. Okay, not supported. Okay, so let's make this a string. Cool. So now you can see this is exactly what lines up with their example. Awesome. So now finally what we want to do is iterate over this again. Again, the way I did it is pretty messy. I'm sure there's a cleaner way to do this, but again, this channel represents my own work. Just a quick disclaimer there. So, okay, anyways, so for k and dd, at any point we want to go for j in range 1 to length of dd of k. So basically starting here, and we're going to compare this and the previous, this and the previous. So at any point, if ddk of j of 1 is less than or equal to ddk j minus 1 of 1, then we have a problem because there's not a strict increase, right? It has to be a strict increase, has to be strictly smaller than this is smaller than this, right? So in that case, then we can go ahead and say we're not going to include this customer ID, okay? So flag is true. In that case, flag is false, and then we can break it right away because any infraction means that we don't care about this anymore. Otherwise, if flag stays true, we can print k. So that's the final customer IDs that are going to be inside of the result. So now we basically have our answer. So answer.append k, and it's pretty smooth sailing from here because you just have to you just return it. So result of customer ID, set it equal to answer from left to right, top to bottom, and then just return this data frame. Okay, let's run this and submit it. And there you go, passes all test cases. Again, really glad that I was able to come up with my own solution to this question and solve it on my own without any assistance, achieving a 100% runtime and memory. So that's quite rare. And again, wasn't expecting to solve this one on my own, but I'm really happy that I did. So, yep, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.